Have you ever seriously wondered what it takes to be a spy today? I mean, forget the movies, right? The fast cars, the shaken martinis. The real world is so much more interesting. And guess what? We've basically been handed the blueprint. So let's get into it. It really all comes down to this one question. What is the actual difference between someone who guards a nation's secrets and, well, the rest of us? It's not just about being brave. It's about a very specific and very modern set of skills. And believe it or not, the answer is hiding in plain sight, right inside this document. This is an official recruitment exam for a junior intelligence officer in India's Intelligence Bureau. And this isn't just a test, you guys. It's a detailed profile of the exact kind of mind they're looking for. So by digging into this exam, we're not just solving a few puzzles. We are literally reverse engineering the ideal operative for the 21st century. We're talking about a world where data moves way faster than bullets, and the front lines, well, they're usually digital. And that's really the key to this whole thing. We're not here to get an A+ on the test. We're here to understand why they're asking these specific questions. What does this exam tell us about the threats and the challenges that a modern agent is up against every single day? Okay, so the first part of the exam is basically a mental obstacle course. It's all about testing raw cognitive horsepower. You know, the ability to think on your feet, adapt, and solve problems under pressure long before you even touch a piece of technology. And these are the pillars of that mental gauntlet. The Intelligence Bureau isn't just looking for someone who's book smart. Nope. They need someone who can untangle these incredibly complex webs of information using pure logic. Someone who can spot patterns that everyone else misses, mentally map out a physical space, and really get the connection between a cause and its effect. All right, take a look at this question. We pulled it right from the exam. Now, it looks simple enough, right? It's just a logic puzzle about height. But try to solve it in your head for a second. You're getting all these different facts, some are direct, some are relative, and you've got to put it all together fast. So here's how an analyst's mind would probably attack this. First, you lock down the hard facts. You know the heights of A and D. Simple. Next, you apply the rule. F has to be somewhere in between them. That gives you a range. And from there, you can just eliminate the impossible answers until only one logical solution is left. And that's the real-world connection right there. I mean, just replace the heights with code names or locations or little snippets of intercepted messages. An operative is constantly juggling all this fragmented intel, trying to build a clear picture of a threat. That's the real test. And you can tell this isn't just a one-off skill they're looking for. I mean, look at this. The exam hammers on spatial reasoning. Two totally different questions ask the candidate to mentally map out these complex, multi-turn journeys and then figure out the fastest way home. Why? Well, because an agent in the field needs to be able to track a target's movements, plan an escape route, or visualize a whole location from just a description, all inside their head. But look, a sharp mind isn't enough anymore. The second half of this exam really shows us how the battlefield has changed. It takes a deep dive into the digital world, and it shows us that the modern analyst also has to be an engineer. Now, before we get too deep in the weeds, let's just make sure we're all on the same page with a key concept they test on: DNS. The easiest way to think about it is like the phone book of the internet. You know the name of the website you want to go to, and DNS finds its actual number, its address, on the network. It's a simple idea, but it's absolutely crucial for digital intelligence. And trust me, DNS is just the warm-up. Look at the sheer range of knowledge they're asking for here. They're testing everything from the basic rules that run the internet, to cybersecurity, to the actual physics of analog signals, all the way to programming logic. This isn't just about knowing how to use a computer. It's about understanding it from the silicon all the way up. And you can see exactly why this stuff matters out in the field. Knowing DNS, that helps you trace where a malicious website is coming from. Understanding ARP, that can help you identify a specific device on a network, like a burner phone or a laptop. In ICMP, that's critical for figuring out if you're under a network attack. Every single one is a tool for a digital investigation. So how does all this technical know-how actually get used? Well, check out this cybersecurity question. It's basically asking the candidate to put on their digital detective hat. You have to comb through user logs and spot the one behavior that just doesn't fit the pattern. And in intelligence, finding that one anomaly, that one thing that's out of place, that can be the key to stopping a huge threat. They also test your knowledge of specific attack methods. Email spoofing is a total classic. An operative needs to understand not just that this stuff exists, but how it works. How an adversary can make a malicious email look like it came from a source you trust. Knowing your enemy's playbook is always the first step to beating them. And the tech knowledge goes way beyond just networks and software. It goes into the invisible world of signals intelligence. An agent has to understand everything from the everyday Wi-Fi frequencies that we all use to these super complex signal modulation techniques that are used in advanced communications. This is really about intercepting and understanding all kinds of electronic chatter. So, what do we get when we put these two halves together? When we combine that mental gauntlet with this high-tech toolkit, we get the complete profile of the modern spy. On one side, you've got your classic analyst, a master of logic, deduction, seeing the big picture. And on the other, you have the technologist, a specialist in networks, signals, and digital forensics. In the past, these might have been two different people, two different jobs. Today, they have to be one and the same person. And this, right here, this is the main takeaway from this entire exam. The ideal candidate is a hybrid. They're not just a thinker who happens to use technology, and they're not just a coder who follows orders. They are a seamless fusion of both, someone who can operate in the physical and the digital worlds with equal skill. What this really means is that a modern operative has to be able to look at lines of code and see the human behavior, the pattern that's behind it. And then do the reverse. They have to see a pattern of behavior in the real world and understand the technology and the code that could be making it happen. And all of this leaves us with a pretty fascinating final thought. This exam, it's a snapshot of the skills that are needed right now. But with things like AI, quantum computing, and totally new forms of digital warfare evolving so fast, what skills will the spy of tomorrow need? What do you think their exam is going to look like?